It is Wednesday, February 26, 2025. This is another offseason edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. We are doing this long distance, and since I am getting ready for the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. How are you, my friend?
Chris, this is the best I've felt in weeks. I still have it in my voice a little bit, but my sickness is gone. My head is clear, and I'm excited to talk some ball with you. You look great, actually, right now. Usually, the remote setup is not favorable, but the lighting is just kind of caressing your face right now.
That's very sweet. Well, I've got really interesting lighting going on here. I put the TV on so I could get a little more front light, so you could see,
Okay.
what this is all about. It's really not that great. Got to be honest with you. What is great is a tip of the cap. We might have already had our soundbite of the year thanks to Mike Mchlinski. He is a major league umpire. He was doing a little handiwork behind home plate when an ABS system was being used, and he gave us this gem.
Good breaking ball, just misses. Brett Sullivan going to challenge.
Ball call.
Brett has been expert at the ABS system. Ooh.
The call is surprisingly correct. 3.
I'm sorry. I must have listened to that 1,000 times on Tuesday.
Mike is one of the good guys. He's actually, I didn't know that was him. He was one of my favorite guys to talk with. Always, if you asked him where the pitch was, where the edge is, anything, he was always gracious. He's one of the good guys. I like that. That was pretty funny.
I mean, I don't know how we're going to top that from an umpire. Well, you're not going to top it from any sort of call made this year, but it will go down in like NFL lore. There was a former referee, an old-time referee named Ben Dreith, who came over the microphone one time and said, "That's a 15-yard personal foul. He was giving him the business." Like, that's one that will live in infamy. And this one is great because he's making fun of himself. So anytime you do that, you get 2 thumbs up from me.
I thought we were the opposite end of the spectrum where umpires would kind of be like mad they were getting challenged or like, pumped up if they got it right. This is the other side of it. Little humor, I like it.
I've seen now the next time it happens in a spring training game and he's mic'd up like that behind home plate and if he screws it up, he's going to go, "Sorry, fucked it up, everybody. It's on me." He totally should. That'd be a win. We're going to start today's game with the ABS, which we discussed, I believe, in the earlier show this week or late I even forget when we were talking about it, but it's been the big talk of baseball. Well, Max Scherzer got a hold of it. He made his Toronto Blue Jays debut, and he actually looked really good. He struck out 4 in his couple innings of work, and all the Blue Jays were there. Well, he had it utilized twice, I believe, in the first 2 innings, and calls went against him. You could see that this one was not even close after he tapped his head. That sort of stuff happens. But Max was asked about it afterward, and he's never shy to share his opinions on anything. And he said, "Can we just play baseball? We're humans. Can we just be judged by humans? Do we really need to disrupt the game? I think humans are defined by humans." Does the future Hall of Famer have a point here?
I also don't love like robots and computers that much, Max. So we're kind of on the same page there. Humans, let's go humans. I'm on that. Okay, like I'm with you on the let's go humans thing. I don't know. He had a lot of funny stuff going on in that interview. I think what's really happening is, and this is okay, because I actually kind of believe in this too. Like he's a veteran pitcher. So what happens with veteran pitchers and umpires? Like they get a little bit bigger leash. They're going to get a little bit. He says a quarter inch off the plate. A veteran pitcher like Max, if he's hitting his spot, is probably going to get up to 6 inches off a plate at times. Okay, he's earned that, and that it goes the same way for a veteran hitter. Like sometimes you get the benefit of the doubt. Now that's gone away a little bit with the way that they are grading umpires, and every umpire understands like his score is going to be on that umpire Twitter page. Like, they want to get the calls right, but there are some times where a veteran still gets, a little bit extra. So there's that aspect to it. And then the 50-50 thing, I know what he's saying, but there is, I don't think it does even out the way he thinks it evens out because it just depends on the situation. You know, the leverage of the situation can, sway a 50% thing. It can mean way more, obviously. So I do like one thing he said, though, also in the article. He talked about maybe not multiple challenges. Maybe we save this for once a game or something like that. I kind of agree with him there. If we just have unlimited challenges, I don't love that. I know we don't, but if you keep getting them right, like you keep getting them back, there's something, because I'm always thinking of the entertainment value. There's something entertaining about having just one. So I don't know. Maybe he's onto something there, but I don't know. This is Max. He's just talking it out loud, which I like. I appreciate his perspective.
I always loved his perspective. I don't always agree with it, but I think it's
Yeah.
great that he voices his opinion on virtually
Yeah.
everything and has, like, he comes to.
He's earned it.
And he would be a wonderful baseball litigator. Like, he comes with ammunition. He says that, you said it was a 3D zone. Now it's a 2D zone that we're looking up. Like, how are we supposed to learn? He said, I'm not going to even use it this much. The one where the ball was brought back into the zone, and so he quickly challenged. He said, I was kind of curious to see. He goes, I didn't necessarily think that it was a strike, but I really was curious to see what they would call. So that's what he was using it for. Now, this isn't even going to probably affect Max Scherzer. I don't think he's going to pitch another 3 or 4 years by the time this stuff is fully implemented, I'm guessing. But he is a guy that does care about the greater good of the sport. Now, I actually like it. We talked about this already. I dig it when we get things right. We're not going to get everything right in the sport, but I think if we can get more and more right, and I totally understand the point that you made about guys earning their leash, but I always thought that was a weird thing. Like, how do guys get the ability to become good pitchers based on umpire calls? I mean, is it just one day? Like, when does Paul Skeens start getting his calls? He seems pretty damn good to me. He hasn't even pitched a full season yet. So when does an umpire determine, well, I'll give Paul Skeens that call, but because he hasn't pitched in April yet as a big leaguer, I'm not going to give him a call. I never understood that.
I mean, there's no set moment. It's arbitrary. It depends on the umpire too. Some veteran umpire might want to screw Paul Skeens because he'll want to say, you only have 1 year of dirt on your spikes. And it's like, all right,
But doesn't
bro,
that
like,
sound
just relax.
weird? Just think
yes,
about
of course it's weird. Yeah. But it has been part of the game.
I know, but I don't like living in a world necessarily where the answer is that's the way it's always been. I think that's
Agreed.
how you stunt progress. I don't like living in that world.
It depends. There are some things that just need to be what they are, but I agree with you to a certain degree.
So, big picture here, look into the crystal ball 4 years from now. Let's say we're past whatever upcoming labor strife is on
don't put that out there.
Hey, I'm not come on. I'm just reading tea leaves
I
here,
don't
brother.
I don't believe that. That's
Okay,
all
so
just posturing for leverage during the negotiations. You think these guys want to stop baseball? Stop the freaking cash flow? No.
okay, let's just say we get past the next agreement with no bumpy roads. And that's really when this thing would probably take place, the ABS
You
system.
think? I don't know, Chris. I haven't seen anything definitive when it's going to be implemented, but I think this is going to happen sooner than later.
You do.
Because it doesn't have to get approval by
No, it doesn't.
the players.
No, it doesn't.
And I don't know if they formally proposed it. So that's, I guess, something I need to look into. I run a baseball show. Maybe I should know. I don't think it's been formally proposed to be in the big leagues, because once that happens, it's basically a year from the time they do that to the time that it's implemented.
Hey, let us know in the comments section whether you're thumbs up or thumbs down so far, what you're feeling, what you thought about Max Scherzer's comments. A lot of stuff to digest there. Let's move into the number one prospect in baseball, Roki Sasaki. He made his kind of backfield debut against a non-Dodger player on Tuesday, and I think the ball, reports are it's almost landed. That's off of the bat of White Sox prospect Kyle Teal. He's one of the guys that came over in the Garrett Crochet trade. First of all, that sounded, I have no idea where it landed, but it sure as hell sounded far.
That was an A swing on a pitch that wasn't supposed to be where it was. That was nice. It's a nice looking swing too.
Ooh, God almighty. That must feel so good. You miss
Oh
that
my
feeling?
gosh, yeah. Yeah. Oh my, that's like the best feeling in baseball.
Yeah.
Just when you pure one, you don't even feel it off your hands. You know it's gone. Especially if a guy like Roki, like that guy right there, Teal, like that's a big at bat for him.
Anyway, the big picture that we're talking about with Roki Sasaki, what are fair expectations for him?
Ooh, what are fair expectations?
Yeah, this year.
I think we'll just count health, a full bill of health, okay? Because I like that. Fair expectations. Well, I'll give you innings also. Why not? Let's just say he makes 28 starts for the Dodgers. Actually, maybe less because they will eventually go to a 6-man rotation. So let's give him 25 starts. How about that?
Yep.
The full year of health. I think let's just go basic numbers. Let's go in ERA. I think he's going to have a sub-4. I really think that is a realistic expectation for him. I think only 9 guys had a sub-3 last year over a full season, so I don't want to put him anywhere really close to that because that's not fair. I'll go 25 starts. I'll go a 3.75, and I'll go 85th percentile in whips. I think this guy's going to generate a lot of strikeouts.
So the best dose we have had of him so far as kind of an American-based audience outside of YouTube highlights is the 2023 World Baseball Classic when his four-seamer averaged over 100 miles an hour. Averaged. That's some pretty good stuff. His splitter was averaged over 90 miles an hour. There were only 3 guys in all of baseball last season that averaged a splitter that hot. That was Taj Bradley, Jose Soriano, and his teammate Yamamoto. So if he's got that working, plus his slider, which we hear is pretty good too, he has the ingredients to be a top-of-the-rotation guy, but not this year, in my opinion. Not this year. You have to remember, he's 23, and it is hard traveling. We talk about this several times a year with different guys that come over from wherever they are in the world. It's hard to come over here. It really is. You're not insulated with your family, your friends. It's a new culture. It can be lonely. The nice thing is that he does have Shohei. He does have Yamamoto. That is great. He's got a manager who is part Japanese, right? And I'm sure that all of that will help him. But he has to live it. He has to go through it. He has to go through the loneliness of getting his balls beat in one day when he gives up 7 earned in an inning and 2/3. Because inevitably that happens. It happens to every pitcher.
I just never heard of your balls being beat.
Get your balls kicked in? You've never heard that?
No.
Try it.
Doesn't sound great.
It doesn't. It probably is the meme where the guy's just standing there and getting kicked in the balls. It's one of those.
I've heard like get your what pushed in. Your bad word.
Penis?
No. What are you? Okay.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Okay, earmuffs. Your shit pushed in.
Oh. That sounds. Neither of those sound great.
I don't know. Maybe we edit this out.
I think that the best thing that can happen to him is the ups and downs of the regular season, but to be throwing great and be fresh.
Put some numbers on it, Chris.
I don't want numbers. I don't think he throws 150 innings. I really don't. I think that with the number of guys that they're going to have to shuttle through that rotation at some point, everybody's grabbing a breather this year. And I agree with, I think 25 starts is a good, solid number.
25 starts times 5 innings a start is 150 innings.
No, it's not.
Is it 125 innings?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So I'm going to go under 150. I could see his ERA getting under 4 by the end of the season. I think there's going to be a major adjustment period. Yamamoto figured it out quick, right? He had the bad start overseas in South Korea. And then right before he got injured, he had his best start of the year against the Yankees. And then he went on the shelf for a few months. And then guess what? He was ready for the playoffs. So to me, I can't tell you Yamamoto's numbers from last year, but I certainly remember some of those October gems that he threw.
Why do I want to say a 3-4? That's in my mind. Yeah, no, look, this is the best competition he's ever going to face on a day in and day out basis in his life. Like, that's the bottom line. Now, doesn't mean that the, Japanese league is, bad, but it's not as good as Major League Baseball day in and day out. There are certain players that can come over and do it. And surely we know the data and that stuff pitchers with stuff like that does translate. But The biggest thing is the consistency of the quality of hitters he's going to face, and that you talk to pitchers, that is one thing that wears you down. You just seems like there's no let up, especially if you're coming over first year. So yeah, I mean, look, this guy is going to be a stud. There's no doubt about it. But there are going to be a couple times here we're going to say, well, okay, he's a rookie still.
I mean, is there a possibility though that he turns into Paul Skeens right away out the gate? I suppose.
Yeah, no, there's a ceiling there. There's a chance that happens. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't put that past him, but realistically, I wouldn't say that.
I would say no, just because of everything else he has to deal with, which I think is really. Although maybe I suppose I mean, Paul Skeens had to deal with a lot of stuff in terms of limelight, visibility. Everybody wants to talk to you. You're one of the faces of baseball. Certain guys are going to hate you because you start the All-Star game. So there are things that, because he does understand everything in this culture, that may have been hurdles to jump over that maybe Sasaki doesn't have to.
I could see that. Yeah, I mean, what happened with Paul Skeens is, he had all that, and then he came out and pitched the way he's pitched, and I think it's turned from like, oh man, this rook is starting the All-Star game to this guy's dominant. Like people have accepted him very quickly in Major League Baseball.
All right, let's move on to another top 60 prospect in baseball. That is Cam Smith. He is the youngest guy that came over from Chicago to Houston in the Kyle Tucker trade. Let's just say he is literally feeling at home in spring training.
1-1. And Smith hits it high in the air, pretty deep to center. De Los Santos going back toward right center field at the wall and make it 2 home runs the other way for Cam Smith.
Yeah, Cam Smith grew up about 15 or 20 minutes from their home, the Astros spring training home. He's actually living at home during spring training. He said that's a big deal. He had a ton of family and friends out there yesterday, which was great to see. Big picture here. Because of the Tucker trade, because of the Ryan Presley trade, because of Bregman leaving to Boston via free agency, there are a lot of people that are dismissing the Astros. Do you think that is wrong if they are indeed doing that?
Yes, you should not dismiss the Astros. Their track record is too good, and by that I mean the ability to replenish talent from within or go outside the organization and bring it in. I mean, we've seen the departure of huge names, year after year from Houston. We saw Springer leave, we saw Garrett Cole leave, we saw Correa leave. Now we're seeing this, talent go. But in the meantime, we brought in, after the first wave, we brought in Tucker. After the first wave, Yordan Alvarez showed up. Framber Valdez showed up. Bernal Blanco out of nowhere. Like, they continue to churn out talent. So if Paredes is a guy and Wesneski is the next in line for that, and obviously Cam Smith here is the next in line for that, I mean, that's what they're banking on. That's what they feel like they can do. And because we've just seen it happen, and I know Bregman to me seems a little bit different, like him and Altuve combination really felt like the pillars of that organization. So I understand why you might feel a little bit differently, but don't put it past the Astros to continue to just draft well, trade well, international free agent well. Like they've been able to do it. You got to hand it to their scouting department and their player development. So I think it would be a mistake to count the Astros out at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think we asked earlier in the spring, maybe even before we got started, where we would rank the Astros, because year in and year out, they're always inevitably 1 or 2, it feels like. And I think people are like, well, okay, the Rangers are going to be good. Who knows what's going to happen with the Mariners out west? Boy, the Athletics made a lot of moves and make them look like a major league team, and they played 500 ball in the second half of the year. This is still a damn good team. They've got one of the most dangerous hitters, the top of their lineup, in Yordan Alvarez. I think it's fun that Altuve's learning a new position. And in fact, they've had to, have you read this? They've been putting tracking devices to see how many steps he's taking, because he's now 35 years old and they want him to dial it back. So like there's times where he'll do outfield drills and he's so anxious to get so much work out there that they had him sit out the base running drill the other day. Not that Jose Altuve needs much help base running.
They're tracking his steps. They can't just look. Like where I don't know.
We're tracking everything these days.
Okay.
You're being tracked by John Boy Media wherever you go. I just want you to know that.
My iPhone's right here. It's like,
just so you can get your reps.
I know what you're doing, bro. I see you.
What I would say overall about the Astros is they still have an immense amount of talent. They just have depth issues. They just don't have as much proven depth. It doesn't mean that the guys can't do it. It's just in some cases we haven't seen it in the major league level, whether that's out of the bullpen or as an everyday ball player. You know, Altuve is going to play left field. Dubon's going to play at second base. I mean, even though he filled in last year for Altuve and was great during like a 45-game stretch, do you want him being your everyday second baseman? Is he best being moved around as a utility guy where his glove work shows off and he can swing the stick? I wouldn't say they have questions in center and right. Myers in center, I would say yes. McCormick, like, he needs to get back to what he was. He was an ascending player in 2023, and then something happened last year, and we have no idea what it was, but he's got to get back to what he was a little bit earlier in his career. So it's just there's a lot of ifs, which means I'm still not betting against him, but I don't have if you're asking me, do I have the same feeling about the Houston Astros I have had the previous 6 or 7 years? The answer is no.
I feel like a lot of people have felt that year in and year out with them, but Brendan Rodgers signed a non-roster invite deal, and he'll probably end up being an absolute stud for them.
Yeah, that could be an interesting pickup.
Yeah, no, you have to continue to trust their vision there because it's worked, continuously for the last. I mean, when did we start seeing great Astros teams? 2000 what?
I believe
17.
No, I believe it was 15 when they made the divisional round. Did they lose to no? Did they lose to Kansas City? Yeah, so they beat the Yankees in the wild card game in 2015. Oh, was that Dallas Keuchel that year? Yeah.
Gosh, that's
that's
and 17 was the bad year, right?
Well, it was
the one we don't speak of.
Right.
So it's been a decade of
where they've been
teams. Yeah.
Top of the line in the American League. No question about it. Quick reminder for everybody. Hit the like. It does help us out. Video-wise, I know that you might sit here and stare. Just go do that. We appreciate it when you do. It helps us. It helps our company. We really want to be the preeminent voice of baseball throughout the season. We're going to be here for you every day during the year. So yes, go ahead, caller.
Oh, I was just like saying, hey, please, yeah.
Yeah.
Just waving to the audience.
Big question is, will Julio Rodriguez and the Mariners get 2 thumbs up this year? They've got some explaining to do. They made the playoffs a couple years ago, and everybody's like, awesome, here we go. And they've taken steps back since then. Julio did knock in a few on Tuesday with a double. It is year 4 for him now. Hard to believe. Year 4. How would you grade his career so far?
I mean, I would grade it an A. Like, they're on what scale? Like, the scale is crazy if we're giving this guy's start to his career anything other than an A. Chris, he's 24 years old. He's already accumulated 16 WAR, 801 career OPS as a center fielder, 2 Silver Sluggers. He won Rookie of the Year. He's been an all-star twice. Like, what scale are we grading Julio Rodriguez on? That's because it's not a fair scale if we're saying this guy has had a B career. Like,
I wouldn't say it's a B.
Okay, then that's what I'm saying. It's got to be an A then. You going to give it a B plus? Is that what you're going to cop out and give it a B plus?
A minus?
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it has to be in the A realm. If you want to give him an A minus, sure. But that's because you're grading him on a different scale than you'd grade anybody else on. Like, we're putting him in an elite status tier from the get-go, and I don't think that's how you should grade someone's start to their career. I guarantee if you went to every single big leaguer and said, before you made it to the big leagues, would you take the first, how many years has he played?
3.
First 3 years.
Yeah.
Would you take that? Center fielder with an 800 OPS, by the way, already signed for over $100 million. Like, it's a freaking A.
Way over $100 million.
So, yeah. I forgot their player options on the end of that, by the way. I forgot about the player option. It's not Julio's fault necessarily that, the Mariners haven't been the team. And I think he gets unfairly judged for that as well. Now, you could talk about the freaking first half, second half splits if you want, because they're egregious. Do you know the numbers, Chris?
Well, I know
have them up.
I remember that in 2023, his second half was ridiculous.
740 career OPS in the first half, 903 in the second half. So, would you like to see some more consistency? Sure. But if you're telling me this is anything less than an A, it's crazy.
I think the way to look at it, perhaps, is to flip the order of what he has accomplished. If last year had been his first year and he had a 734 OPS and then went to an 818 OPS and then he went to an 853 OPS, we'd be like, hot damn, are you kidding me? You would say A++. But because it was reversed, he went 853, 818, 734. Then you're like, I don't know what to think of him. Like, he's not getting better. I think that's probably part of the problem, but I think it's okay to look at guys' careers in 3-year increments, 3 or 4-year increments. I really do, particularly when they're this young. It is a hard game to figure out. When you have immediate success, I mean, how many times do you hear that cliche about the league adjusting to you and then you've got to adjust back, and it's just it's a constant cat and mouse game, and I think that's what's happened with him. Has he been ideal? No. Does he strike out a shitload? Are there times where the Mariners have needed him to carry the team and he hasn't been there to do it? Yes. That has happened. But when you have a pair of top 7 MVP finishes in your first 3 years, including one where he finished 4th in 2023, yeah. I mean, I would say I don't like giving – I guess I'll be that teacher that doesn't like giving out straight A's, A minus.
A minus.
What an ass.
I'm okay with an A minus. It has to be an A for me, and anyone that says differently is just really unfairly judging the scale. Like, the scale is wrong.
Okay, so what if we were to do this? If we were to have just an open draft, you can have any players you want, position players. How quickly does he get taken?
I mean, fairly quickly. I mean, I think you go Bobby Witt. I think you're going Ellie.
Gunner.
I think you're going Gunner.
I mean, he does play a premium position, center field.
Yeah, and like the contract is not bad. Like, at the end, it's 20 and 18. For quite some time. I mean, you're putting me on the spot here. I mean, he probably goes like. And you're talking about Paul Skeens. He probably goes top 10, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't go top 10. But that doesn't. I mean, dude, that's talking about top 10 players in baseball right now.
Right.
Because I'd rock with Shohei, obviously, before him. There's a lot of players I guess you would think of, especially if you're adding pitchers into it. But he's up there.
I think if you talk about it being the longevity game, if you say you can have guys for the next 7 years. He goes really high. I think if you say for the next 2, I think he gets taken behind Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, agreed. I'm taking his age into account. Big time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He's 24.
Yes.
So I wouldn't take, like, in that aspect, I would not take Freddie Freeman in front of him because this guy's going to play for he's going to give me 10 more good years.
Here's a good one. For the next 4 years, would you rather have Julio Rodriguez or Bryce Harper?
Bryce Harper.
Don't think at any point Julio is going to pass him over the next 4 years.
He could. I mean, I trust Bryce Harper. No, Bryce Harper.
That's saying something. So you're going to take a guy who will be in his mid-30s over a guy who won't even.
This is Bryce fucking Harper, dude.
I'm just saying that Julio's going to be reaching his peak in the next 2 years. He'll be 26.
Could Julio have better statistics overall than Bryce Harper over the next 4 years? Sure, there's a chance of that. But, like, I'm talking gamer, what it means to a franchise to have a guy like Bryce Harper. I'm taking Bryce Harper, and he's a social media star now. Come on,
he is that
side action.
He is that.
Who would you take?
I love Harper. Yeah, I've always been on his train, even when people weren't as fond of him in his early years. I was a huge Harper guy. I've loved Harper. So you're not going to.
I'd never heard anybody that played with him say anything bad about him. Not one fucking person. I've cussed too much today. I'm sorry.
Okay, get it out of your system.
By the way, last 3 years, 877, 900, 898 OPS for Bryce. Like, what are we talking about here?
So how about the next 6 years? I'm just trying to find the line of demarcation here. Where can I get you to jump ship?
I think I'm taking Bryce till the wheels fall off. I mean, I understand the WAR is taking a hit since he's moved to first base, and he's not the defender that Julio is, but I just think that what he brings to the table is different.
Okay. Let's end the show on something amazing. The Jeffrey Yan experience. Colorado Rockies lefty out of the pen against the White Sox. This is what he did every strikeout. Jumped into the air, did the splits. Woo! If you are just listening to this show, please spin it up on our JM Baseball YouTube channel, just so you can fast forward and hit to this spot. It's one of the great visuals you will see all year. Is it too much?
This is why I'm happy I'm not playing anymore, Chris, because I can enjoy this now. I can say this is hilarious. And I guarantee if he's on your team, you're like, this is, his personality, you think it's funny. Is it too much for Major League Baseball? God, I know what the commenters are going to say. We need to have more fun. Let's let it all happen. But here's the situation. If that continues to go down in a big situation, the only thing I love it. Gosh, it's hard for me. It's actually very unique. And I feel like he's really doing it out of passion and not pre-planned. I don't know. But is it going to get one of your teammates hit? That's incredible. That shot right there. Is it going to get one of your teammates hit? And that's not his fault. Well, it is his fault. But it's just part of the old baseball adage of protecting, and can we move on from that? I understand it. It's still in baseball though. So I don't know, man. I struggle with this so much because I know how baseball players think and I know how fans think, and they think completely different.
Yeah, I understand that too because I don't understand it. Having never set foot in a batter's box or had a guy show me up, because I understand I don't live there. That is amazing. This guy should make the roster based strictly on that, because you know how shitty the year is going to be for the Colorado Rockies and their fans? If that guy can strike out Shohei or somebody in a big situation to preserve a Rockies win, that might be the highlight of their season. If that happens at home.
So he's jumping up on the mound going crazy. Zach Veen's bat flipping to the freaking moon. What are we doing in Colorado? It's become, hey, you know what? Maybe that's what they need.
Well, they need something. And this is a guy who's 28 years old. He's yet to make his major league debut. He has pitched literally all over the world. He was in Japan last season, I believe. He's pitched countless times in winter ball. He's trying to get his shot. So you know what? If this is the one time we're ever going to talk about him, so be it. Go do your thing, dude. Does not bother me. I loved it. It was a huge social clip. It was fun. At the end of the day, yeah, I get it. Yeah, yes.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. I need to make another point. That is real emotion, right? Mm-hmm. I don't fault guys for having real emotion. I feel like he is actually passionate and doing that out of passion. That is different than the stuff I continue to see in college baseball. I can't get with it, bro. I can't get with it. The stuff that I see in college baseball, it feels forced, and it feels like people want to be a social media clip. People want people talking about him. That, to me, I'm out on. This is passion.
Instinctual.
Yeah, it just feels like it's coming out naturally.
That is
people. You know what? People can hate on me all they want. The college baseball stuff is so silly. You want to know why? I've just seen so many guys come from college.
Here we go.
Step into pro ball for the first time, and it's a different world. And hey, I wish you guys all the best. I want everybody to have success. I do. I wish everybody could be successful. It's not the case. You get into pro ball. Just saying, it's different.
You grumpy. You didn't get any of that NIL money. You grumpy.
Ask Kutch what he thinks about that stuff.
Yeah, we should.
Kutch is about as old school baseball thinker as it gets.
Yeah. He's good. They're all good. And Jeffrey, keep doing your thing, man. I want to see more of it during spring training. He reminds me of Carlos Perez. Carlos Perez was probably pre-year time.
Closer?
No, he was a starting pitcher for the most part. And he pitched
Didn't
for
you have a Carlos Perez that closed for you guys as well?
that was Chris Perez.
Out of Miami? Chris Perez.
Oh God, there's some great Chris Perez stories. I don't know if I could share here. But
I know he rolled with that crew, and I think I pumped him one time.
What?
Homer.
Oh, that's Homer. Carlos Perez used to do that. He used to jump all over the mound, and this is in the 80s and 90s when guys just didn't put up with it.
Yeah, this is, I mean, like Dennis Eckersley shooting people and then getting mad at people celebrating now.
Go talk to Ron Washington about that. He and Wash were teammates, and then Wash ended up in Cleveland, and X struck him out to end a game one time and did the shot at him. I thought Wash was going to go out there with the bat. I asked him about it, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. I was like, Wash, did you want to go kick X ass? He was like, oh, I was going to go kill that motherfucker. I was like, oh.
That's what Jimmy and Jake always say, because I did that whole, like, watching the World Series. They're like, people have been celebrating crazy forever. It is not like a new thing. And these old guys, like, how do you forget about stuff like that? Pew, pew, pew. Come on, that's ridiculous. Can you imagine if I hit a homer off Dennis Eckersley, took my bat, and was like, like, how stupid is that? And then I will get mad, and then I get mad at somebody for doing, yeah. Like, are you serious?
Go check out a guy named Tom Lawless. Everybody, this is your homework, okay? And leave a comment about it. Tom Lawless in the 1987 World Series for St. Louis against the Minnesota Twins. I'm going to guess Tom Lawless. Sawyer, if you can do this, or Dan, look up how many career homers Tom Lawless hit. I'm going to guess it's less than 10 in his career. He hit one in the World Series, stood at the plate, flipped his bat. He hit 2 in his career. Okay, so he hit one in the 87 World Series, flipped his bat in the air, stood at home plate, and the ball got over the wall by like this much. It is hilarious. Everybody go watch it. Tell me what you think of Tom Lawless's celebration.
I'm always curious, like, what I would have been in like today's era. Would I have like just bought into it and just had some silly celebration? I played with such old school guys that like it just was not gonna happen. Like, I used to cross the plate and shake Morneau's hand. That was our
you would have had
celebration.
You would have been.
That's what I got allowed to do.
You would have been a great veteran, Dan. You would have. Here it is. Here's Tom Lawless. Ready? Go, Tommy.
Walking.
Wait, it's not done. Dude, I'm telling you, the ball just got over the wall, I think.
I mean, that would infuriate some of these announcers today.
Oh, man. All right.
It's been going on forever, people.
This was a fun one. We are back at it again next week, I think, So we'll go do that. I've got some stuff going on in the football world. Plouffe's got some other stuff, but don't worry. If there's something major in the baseball world, we will always have our opinions ready on social media. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our amazing intern, Sawyer, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you soon here on Baseball Today.